Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Elite Money Market Update. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and I'm here with Patrick Marcel. He is the CEO of Elite Retirement Group. Patrick, my friend, it's great to be back with you. How are you this week?
It's always fun. It's a great time of year. I really enjoy being out and about. So taking time out to be here with you doesn't get much better than that.
Well, thank you. It's always good to see you. And I love that I continue to learn really cool things about you. And of course, our viewers at home, if they've gotten to know that you are an Eagle Scout and you have carried over that wealth of knowledge into retirement planning and really focus on helping folks be prepared for all things expected and unexpected in retirement. But you shared something with me before the start of the show that I personally didn't know. And it was a Scout saying of do a good turn daily. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's the motto.
Okay.
Do a good turn daily.
And so what does that mean?
So basically it just means that, in its simplest form, be a good person. Do something nice for somebody. In my office, I have a little wooden plaque like this. It says, because nice matters. And I think, I saw it and it was very expensive, but I put it on my desk and people were asking me about it. And I always tell them, like, I think it's a lot easier to just be a nice person. It takes a lot less energy to be nice to somebody. And you never know what kind of day that person's having.
Absolutely.
So as a Scout, it's a little bit different. I mean, you still want to be nice, but it's, if you see somebody that needs help, maybe with the groceries putting in the car, or you see somebody maybe that's, an older person that's having a hard time getting out to get their mail, or, raking leaves, or just some things that you can do. What can you do in your community to just be nice and do something that'll make somebody else's day better? And I just think there needs to be a lot more of that, because there's so many good people out there. There really are. There's just so many wonderful people, and they let their light shine, and they'll do great things. And I think you just do one thing a day. You don't have to be a hero. You don't have to be Mother Teresa. She was amazing. You just have to do one good thing a day.
Well, and what you're doing is you're helping people live out the best life they can possibly have in retirement, and it has dividends that pays them for years to come. That the planning on the front end that you're able to do, the preparedness you're able to give to folks, that can then serve them throughout the rest of their lives, and it's just an incredible thing. I want to start by asking about what is one of the most unexpected things that people aren't prepared for in retirement that you're able to help them with?
Well, actually, there's a couple of things that we see where people aren't really fully ready for retirement, or they don't really prepare as well as they should. And one of the things I see is estate planning. So a lot of times people come in, I would say it's getting better, but I would still say probably about half the time folks either haven't done anything with their will that they created maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, or they don't have anything. And it's just been, life is busy for them. They haven't had time. So one of the things we've done is we teamed up with a company called Trust and Will. And going through our office, you're actually able to get a very, very reasonably priced will put together. It's really quite simple. Is we give you access to the questions. And at the end of the questions, they say, well, you should have this, whether it's a trust or a will or whatever documents, based upon how you answer the questions. And then once you go, yep, I want to have that, like for example, a will is like around $160. It's very inexpensive. You can get a trust for under $700. It's very, very, inexpensive, like I said. But keep in mind, these are for relatively simple situations. It'll also let you know if, hey, this is a little more complicated, you probably really need to see somebody with more expertise. You need to sit down with an attorney. So I like that aspect of it, but at least get some basic documents in place. And we can actually also monitor the process. So I had somebody come in recently and they said, hey, you know what, Patrick, I really want to get that will done. And I said, great, but just so you know, I'm going to be able to watch your progress, and I'm not there to be a pain in your butt. Right. But what I am there to do is I'm there to help make sure that I keep you on track and get you in the right direction. And that's so that's one that people don't really plan very well for. Another thing we see a lot of people fail to do is failing to plan for taxes. And doing specifically what's called tax planning.
Yes.
Now, there's many great accountants, CPAs out there that are fantastic people, and they do a great job with preparing taxes. If you were to ask them and say, hey, would you like to spend time with me to do some tax planning? They would probably jump at the opportunity, because it gets more into not just preparing a tax return, but what things should you be doing to take advantage of maybe your bracket that you're in or some deductions that you have.
Right.
Is there loss harvesting? What kind of things are you going to do to really maximize the tax situation you're in and set yourself up for success down the road?
Right.
We know that a lot of folks that come to us work with larger, I'll call them box firms for simplicity.
All the big names, you see the marketing, you see the names on every corner.
Yep. And they'll say, you know, I don't get that tax planning from my person there. And part of it is, and actually this is interesting, somebody recently came in and said, yeah, they told me actually they can't do that.
They're not allowed to, yes.
Yeah, and I didn't know that. I didn't even know that.
Right.
And because they don't want them giving tax advice. And I'm like, well, I'm not giving tax advice, but I'm pointing out things that we should look at, get the accountant involved. We have some great tools. We have this tool called the Tax What If software, where I can actually load up your information and we can do scenarios, hypothetical.
Yep.
If you take some money out of your IRA and you put it in a Roth, how much tax are you going to pay? Are you going to go into the next bracket? If you're on Medicare and Social Security, what will it do to your Medicare Part B premium? What will you have to pay for taxes on Social Security? So there's a lot of things that it takes in consideration, and we're actually able to get really, really accurate. I've actually had some accountants that asked me for that sheet, like just the image, so they could see the numbers,
right?
And then they just check it for us because they're the experts, and I'm not there to do that job. Just like attorneys, I'm not there to do it. I just want to get people moved in the right direction.
Right.
Let's work with those professionals that are experts at this and get them involved and have them help us. But at least we have some tools to get us started. And so tax planning, we do see a lot of times is just not there. There was another gal that came in and she met with somebody that they said, oh, just do Roth, do Roth, do Roth, do Roth. And I went through this tax software with her and I looked at it and I said, well, you're in a pretty high tax bracket. I don't know why you're doing a Roth based upon what your need for income in retirement is very low. It was very low. And I said, you know what, maybe we don't want to do that.
Because that would have given her what?
A better tax deduction now.
Right.
But she's also now paying taxes at a lot higher rate on the money that's going into Roth. So it's not just simply do a Roth. Right? And it's great.
Again, it's not a one size fits all, right?
Yeah, it's a great tool and it's a great opportunity to do some wonderful things. And understanding what it does for you is great, but we also need to understand what's the impact tax-wise. So tax planning, and I do have a couple other things that we'll cover, I'm sure, as we go forward.
Yes.
But I just wanted to kind of reiterate to folks that are watching is that, this is a lot. There's a lot of moving parts, and you might say, hey, how do I get that tax planning software? How do I take advantage of that? This is what we're here to do. This is what we provide as a complimentary service for those that want to take advantage of it, because it is very important. And we really feel very strongly that if we can show you what we can do for you, you'll look at us with you'll give us an opportunity to be able to compete for the right to be your advisor. And that's all we really ask for. And I just tell people, I'm like, you know what, if it doesn't work for you, just tell us. It's quite all right. You know what, we maybe aren't the best fit for you, and that's okay. We don't have to work together, but we don't know unless we get an opportunity to show you what we can do for you.
Right.
And the best way to do that is pick up the phone, give us a call at 833-856-1392. We'd love to hear from you. Schedule a visit to come in and see myself, Victor, Michael, and just really let us get to know you. You get to know us. Once we kind of know what you want to do, we can judge each other and decide if this is something that's a good fit.
Right.
Maybe do some work for you. Let us prove that we can do a good job for you. And then see where things go from there. We'll always be upfront about that. But the other thing you can do, of course, is that you'll see in the bottom of the screen, you're going to see the QR code, the little box there. Just go ahead and scan that with your phone. Most phones have the app right on it, and they'll take you right to the site and you just schedule from there.
Perfect. Patrick, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but this is a great opportunity to take Patrick and the team at Elite Retirement Group up on their offer. Simply call the number on the bottom of the screen, 833-856-1392, to schedule your time to come in for no cost, no charge, no obligation, and get your complimentary portfolio analysis and written financial plan. When we come back, we're going to be discussing some more things that folks are often unprepared for in retirement, because we want to make sure that you are prepared, so stay with us.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carol and 5. Happy Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you.
As you can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion even
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Elite Money Market Update. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with Patrick Marcel, the CEO of Elite Retirement Group. We are talking today about a lot of the things that folks are often not prepared for in retirement, those unexpected things that we want to make sure that you at home are prepared for. So Patrick, what's one of the other things that you often find folks just haven't done the right preparation for in retirement?
Well, one of the big things is the bridge between when you retire and Medicare age. So what are we doing for health insurance? And there's some different ways that we help folks accomplish that. Victor does a great job helping folks go through the Affordable Care Act, selecting that. We talked on other episodes about Innovia, how that plays in, and it's a discount. So it's a great way to be able to get a doc, right, that you can see a primary care physician that you can actually get in to see. So we went that direction for our office because I wanted to be able to see my doctor sooner than 6 months.
Right, yes.
And I love my doctor. My primary care doctor I used to have, she's awesome. I love her, but it just was too long.
Right.
I wanted to get in to see, I never saw her at the end of the day. Now with Innovia, we can see them. There's no co-pays, no deductibles. It's just a subscription fee that goes along with our high deductible plan. It's really, really, really awesome. So, but then the other thing, which a lot of people, I think we don't want to think about this. I know I don't want to think about it, but we have to really be realistic and think about what are we going to do in the event that we can't care for ourselves anymore.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of really strong, amazing people out there that will care for their loved one, and that's fantastic.
That's where the stats say most people are getting their long-term care. It's from an unpaid loved one, family member who's living with them, helping them.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we should really be focused on is that, one, I think the person getting the care probably would say, you know what, I don't want to put that burden on them. And the person who's caring for them, they're like, no, I want to do it.
Right.
So you have that little bit. But I think we also need to really look at what the costs are, because the reality is that, let's face it, if somebody has, dementia, Alzheimer's, those are really horrible diseases. And a lot of times some patients can become very difficult.
Yes.
That are dealing with it. And it's just a lot.
And there's a lot of physical labor often. If you're trying to lift, a loved one, you can hurt yourself very easily, or it's time out of the workforce for you if you're caring for someone. Yeah,
and when we talk about long-term care, we're not always talking about being in a facility. We want to stay at home as long as possible. That's my goal. I want to be at my house as long as I possibly can. I don't ever want to leave there. They can bury me in the basement. That's fine. I want to be there.
Right.
But I think a lot of people feel that way. They want to be at home. And if we prepare for long-term care properly, we can do that.
Yes.
And we can have some tools to go about that. Now, some of the things that, options we have for long-term care is we can buy long-term care insurance. Now, long-term care insurance is very expensive. It wasn't supposed to go up, but a lot of people who have it, if you ask them, it's gone up in price and it's gone up a lot.
Yes.
So it's not really super affordable in a lot of cases. It doesn't mean we rule it out. We always look at all the options to make sure we're making the best decisions for our clients and give them the best recommendations.
Right, and not to mention the medical underwriting that can be accompanying that. A lot
you
of
might
people
not be
don't
healthy
qualify.
enough.
Right,
Yeah, it's very hard to get long-term care, much harder than life insurance. Life insurance, they're just worried about if you're going to pass.
Right.
Long-term care, it's, well, what if you don't?
Yeah, what if you keep living longer, which we're living longer than we ever have before, right?
Right. I don't know if I told you, when I was last fall, I was taking some satellite dishes off our roof. And I almost fell off the roof.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I tripped over the peak of the roof.
No.
Because I left my tools up on the roof, and I went and got them, and I was coming over the peak. I tripped, did almost like a 360 and spun and slid. And as I was going down, my wife said, "Don't linger." Now, she said that jokingly. She said that jokingly, so she didn't mean it seriously, but it was just funny. That was her reaction. It was concrete below, so it wouldn't have been a very gentle fall.
Right.
But I didn't. I managed to hold on. I did okay. But that's the part. That's serious. Is like the lingering part is. What do we do? How can we stay at home longer? So we need to plan for it. Long-term care insurance is pretty expensive. It can help you stay at home longer, though. Then we look at legal planning. So there are a few attorneys in our area that what we want to look for is we want to look for an elder care attorney specifically who can help us plan legally to make sure that we basically can protect our assets in the event that we need care.
Yes.
Is what it ends up being. And not to get too far down that rabbit hole, there's some tools that you can use. I can tell you right now, it's not cheap. It's a bigger upfront cost. And there's not very many attorneys that exactly know how to do that. There's some that say they do it. I've seen the work, gotten the folks to go to get a second opinion from Alan, who we work with. A lot of people work with Alan. He's a really tremendous asset to have in our community, Alan Hogum. And it ends up being they're disappointed. They paid, $1,000, $1,500, and now they have this tool that doesn't do what they thought it would. So we want to make sure we get in front of the right people.
Right.
And you can do some legal planning. It's expensive up front. It can work. There's no healthcare underwriting. So we just have to get through that 5-year window, and it can be a good tool. I always look at it this way, though, a little bit, and I think I look at it from a different perspective, because my daughter, Haley, who's 22, she's on Medicaid. She's going to need care when we're gone. That's what Medicaid is for.
Right.
Medicaid are for those that need it. And not saying that you shouldn't do it, but I think we really need to think if you can afford to care for yourself, what other things can we do to pay for long-term care without having to give away all of our assets or having to spend down our assets? And there's two things that specifically that I think maybe are misunderstood maybe a little bit. How we can actually just simply reposition assets to be able to get us in a place where those assets can provide a higher long-term care benefit if we need it. So one of them is asset-based long-term care.
Okay.
And what it is you can take an IRA or non-IRA and you can move it into this account. It's going to make interest for you. If you don't need it, there'll be a death benefit to the beneficiaries. If you need it for long-term care, it's going to give you this nice larger benefit. Now there is underwriting, so you're going to have questions. So you have the life insurance component and the long-term care. So you need to be pretty healthy to get that. But it is really effective because at the end of the day, if you don't use it, you still have this money to your beneficiaries.
Right.
It's not gone.
Yes.
If you need it for home care, community-based care, whatever you need, you're going to have it for. It's ADL driven, which is activities of daily living.
Right.
So you can't perform 2 of 6 without assistance.
Which are things like dressing, bathing, moving yourself, right, from couch to bed, those kinds of things, right?
And jokingly, some of my clients say, well, I can't do that already.
Oh.
So, I know. This morning when I got out of bed, I don't know, it was a
little stiff there, right?
right. But, and then the final one I just want to touch on, and we'll talk a little more about it after the break too, is using annuities and specific type of annuities to be able to create a higher level of income if you need to have care.
Right.
And these two options are really designed. How can we help you stay at home? What tools can we use that simply just reposition assets? And it isn't a spend down criteria.
Right.
It's something that can help us make sure that we can make good decisions for ourselves and be where we want to be, quite frankly, at the end of the day. So folks, if you want to learn more about it and you're already on edge and you're like, I got to know more about what Patrick's talking about, you can give us a call at 833-856-1392. You can go to the bottom of the screen right here and you can scan the QR code. Schedule a time to come visit us and talk to us. Ask us the questions that you have. That's what we're there for. I always tell people, even my clients, I say, you have questions, just ask us. And they usually are very kind. They're like, well, I don't want to waste your time. Nope, this is what I do.
Yes,
this
and you
is what
love it, and you're great at it, and that's what you do.
I love doing it. It's like the best part of the day is talking to people, sharing information, and helping them out. So again, if you want to schedule that time, just give us a call at 833-856-1392.
Patrick, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, we are going to take a quick commercial break. We understand that a lot of these topics we're discussing today can be quite overwhelming, and while they might be new to you, they're not new to Patrick and the team at Elite Retirement Group. They would love to help you and serve you. So take a minute, pick up the phone, give us a call, 833-856-1392, and we'll see you right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Elite Money Market Update. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Patrick Marcel, CEO of the Elite Retirement Group. We are talking today about so many things that often folks are unprepared for in retirement because we want to make sure that you are prepared. Patrick, we've been talking about long-term care, and you mentioned something really fascinating in the last segment that I wanted to bring up. You were talking about using annuities to pay for long-term care. And you and I have talked on the show before that often annuities get a bad rap, but we both know that there's different kinds of annuities. And so just unpack that a little bit about why that could be an effective strategy for someone to pay for their long-term care.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things that if you are ruling out annuities just because of the name or you heard something bad, I think you're really missing the boat, quite frankly, because there's so many ways that we can use that tool to be able to really provide you with a lot of different things. I think about when I was in Scouts, right? I had a Swiss Army knife. It had the corkscrew on it. It had the tweezers on it. It had the toothpick, which always got lost, by the way. always got lost. The tweezers got lost too. It fell out at the end, right? But an annuity properly placed can do a really great job, especially specific ones that allow you to be able to create income. So a lot of times what we'll do for our clients is that we'll do what we call backside planning. They'll spend money on the front side, doing the things they want to do early on retirement, spend more money quicker.
During their go-go years, right?
Yes.
When they're able to do those things, yeah.
Then we'll get to a point in life where maybe it's not as fast, or maybe we've spent down some of our assets and now we need another tool to come into play and give us income. So one of my favorite tools allows my clients to be able to turn on income, and it's for a lifetime. Now the thing that's really cool is that they're in full control yet. Unlike a pension where you take a pension, it's guaranteed forever, but you can't change your mind. One and done, you made the decision, it's over.
It's locked in, right?
Yep. Now, with these tools, the index annuity, and there's a couple other ones that are, have different names too as well, but it allows you to be able to take a lifetime of income for either yourself or you or your spouse. And if the great thing about that is if you live a long time and use all the money in the account, it'll keep on paying.
Wow.
And the one I like the best, actually, every time there's an interest gain on the policy, it gives you a permanent pay raise as well.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things that doesn't get used a ton, but I think is really interesting, is it has a feature that if you're getting income and you can't perform the 2 of 6 activities of daily living, what it does, it takes that amount you're getting. So let's just say you're getting $2,000 a month.
Okay.
It'll double it to 4.
Oh, wow.
So can you imagine with an
benefit
extra,
kicks in once you can't perform 2 of the 6 ADLs, is what you're saying. Yeah.
So what'll happen is that extra $2,000 you get it for 5 years, but what could you do with an extra $2,000? Is it enough to bring somebody in part-time to help care for a loved one where you want it to be there to take care of them, you want them to stay at home? It might be just enough to do that, and that's the great thing about some of those tools.
Or provide some respite care for the caregiver who needs a break, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing that's great is that we can decide when to start that income whenever we want. We don't have to wait a long time. We don't have to take it at year 10 or 12, or it's just when what's right for the situation. And I've done this long enough. I know that situations always change. I always say one thing that's always constant is change.
For sure. Yep.
It always
and that's why
changes.
you have to be prepared, right? For all the expected and the unexpected things. Yeah.
It's, Scouts taught us a lot about the importance of being prepared and planning.
Yes.
And that's what really this is all about. So the annuities, like I said, I think if people are overlooking, they're really doing themselves a disservice. I will say that if you're going to somebody who that's what they're doing is selling just a product, probably not necessarily getting the best tool.
Right.
I think that you really have to be careful. It's on you to make the decision if this is really in your best interest. So if you feel comfortable with that, fine. But you really want to work with somebody that is independent and that's somebody that can look at all the options out there and really assess, even if it makes sense.
Right.
I know some of my clients that I have, they can self-insure. One thing I wanted to mention is for those that are a little more techie like me, there is an app you can get from GE.
Okay.
So Genworth, GE, and it gives you all the information about the cost of long-term care in your area. So on my phone, I have this little app, and whatever I want to know, I just go in and I click it and I look at it. And it's amazing what the costs are. You just have no idea until you look it up, but it's in your area. It's specific to your area. So GE has a great app for that, and I think it's a tremendous tool to give you an idea and a sense of like, what would this cost? And actually staying home isn't as expensive as most would think.
Right.
It's actually pretty reasonable because a lot of times we aren't getting full 100% full-time care at home. It's intermittent.
Yes. Yep.
You know, and like I know for Haley, we're stubborn. We don't want respite care. We want to take care of her all the time, and that's just who we are, right? But I will tell you that it's nice to have the option that if we need that break. What if I wasn't there? What if my wife wasn't there?
Right.
And just one of us left taking care of Haley? We love her to death, but there's sometimes we just need time to recharge, and that's where that comes
Well,
into
I don't
play.
know a parent on the planet that doesn't need a break at one point or another, right? Let's be real.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You know, and that kind of goes back to the beginning of the show when we talked about doing a good turn daily.
Yes.
So if you're getting full-time care, you're relying on that person who's giving you the care to do that good turn every single day and take care of mom or dad. So I think we want to try to stay at home. We want to try to do all those things, but we want to plan for that, and we want to do the very best job we can, making sure we're set and ready to go for that. And it is probably the biggest, or one of the biggest overlooked items out there. So if you want to make sure you're addressing this or get a plan in place or how this can work for you, you can give us a call at 833-856-1392. If you do that, we're going to offer you a free plan that allows you to be able to know where you're at today, where you're going as far as on your journey to retirement. We'll give you a written analysis of your situation. We talked a lot about the different tools and the different options that we can put together for you as far as, you know, income planning, health insurance, long-term care, life insurance, income planning, risk analysis, you know, and it goes, and distribution strategies. All that is in the plan.
It's all part of the puzzle.
It is. And sometimes some people get all the pieces, sometimes some people get some of the pieces, because it only matters what's important to them.
Right.
It isn't like everybody gets this, but we feel you shouldn't have to pay for that.
Yes.
And it's our opportunity to say, look, this is what we can do for you. Let us audition to be your advisor, and let us do this work to show you what we can do for you. So again, just give us a call at 833-856-1392, or of course you can go ahead and scan that little code right here on the screen and set up a time to visit with us. We'd love to see you.
Wonderful. I know they're also going to get a complimentary copy of your book as well, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yes, Retirement Be Prepared. Such a great, helpful read. Patrick, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, thanks for watching. We encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity by calling that number, scanning that QR code to get your own complimentary portfolio analysis. Be educated, be empowered, and most of all, be prepared. We'll see you next time.